behind my bike. I stay in this neighborhood. I stay up the street. Y'all, come on. I understand that, y'all. They didn't, man. I don't know, man. Okay, listen here. Okay, listen here. All right. Come on, man. I understand that. That's great, y'all. Hey, y'all, man. They done shot FBG Duck in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro.
Yo, face. Yo, your face, please. With dirt on top.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, clearly I'm a little late on this, but I just seen it probably a day ago and I forgot to talk about it, but this is something that I actually wanted to get into. For y'all that don't know, rest in peace to FBG Duck, who was a Chicago rapper who was sitting outside of the Dolce Gabanna store back in 2020 when he was shopping for his son's birthday, and he was waiting to get into the store to proceed to shop. Now, if y'all remember back in 2020, due to the virus that was going around, they had a lot of weird ways to shop where you couldn't be in stores, you couldn't be next to somebody within 6 feet, you had to have a mask on. It was all type of stipulations and things you had to abide by if you wanted to go into these stores. Now, I guess it's no matter who you was, they held you to that same regard and you couldn't just go into the store, you had to wait outside. But with somebody such as FBG Duck's caliber, he's not just somebody that you could see stand around for too long, especially in Chicago. That's like going to Chicago and seeing Little Dirk just sit outside. That's like going to Chicago and seeing Chief Keef or somebody to that stature outside. Now, of course, y'all may say that he wasn't as big as Chief Keef or wasn't as big as Little Dirk, but maybe that's to y'all. In Chicago, all these guys came up the same way and they were into it with each other for as long as we can remember. So to the world and money and status, they may say he wasn't as big as Little Dirk and Chief Keef. However, if you are fond of the drill culture, you know that that is false. With that being said, we all heard how the situation followed after. Now, he was spotted, he seen somebody who he didn't really know, but the man knew him, of course, because he's FBG Duck. Lo and behold, that man was a jealous baby father to a woman that FBG Duck used to be acquainted with, but was no longer for years prior to the shooting and everything that transpired. Now, according to police reports, he would act as if he was a fan once he noticed Duck, went up to him, shook his hand, but what came after was a plot against his life. The man who goes by the name of THF will go into another nearby store, stalk FBG Duck from a distance as he called guys that he knew was his ops. Those guys happened to be OBlock members, and he made a lie saying that FBG Duck chased him, threatened him with a weapon, and told him once he see him again, he's gonna do something to him. Now, of course, with them knowing that FBG Duck is a big target, and knowing that they got the drop on him, they hurried up because they thought that their friend was in trouble. Lo and behold, we will find out that all that was a lie. He was just jealous that this man was acquainted with his baby mother, and he thought he would get back by having this man's life taken by his ops. His plan will fall through. They came through and did what they did to FBG Duck. However, they paid for it with their lives, as they are now sitting behind bars for the rest of their life. And the worst part of it all, that all of this is merely because of one guy's envy for another man for messing with a woman that he loved, when they said that he would actually send a text trying to troll FBG Duck to the girl, in which they also showed that in court as well. They said when they did, everybody who participated in the shooting looked back at TZ, because at that moment they realized that he lied, and now they are facing the rest of their life in jail all over a female that got nothing to do with them. Crazy. Now that you know the backstory, let's get into a few other details that we know about FBG Duck the day he was shot and unalive. Now they say that he was standing on the line to get into the Dolce Gabanna store. I don't know how true this is because of course it's all rumors, but they saying that he was trying to get into the store, but he was denied access. So with him being denied access, having to wait for excessive periods of time, of course it's a no-brainer that they were able to get up there, spot him, and do what they did. Can you imagine being outside that long? They went all the way from OBlock to come to downtown, which means that he had to be outside sitting there for quite some time. On top of that, they said after he was shot, it took them forever to call police, in which he was on the floor for quite some time. Even when EMS arrived, if you've seen the video, you see that he was still on the floor fighting for his life, even though he had 10 plus bullet holes in him. So just think, if he was able to get the help he needed, then maybe he would still be here. Because even after EMS arrived, he was still on the floor for a long period of time. So with all that being said, Mama Duck will realize that as well, and she will file a lawsuit against Dolce Gabanna and other surrounding stores. So fast forward to 2025, 5 years later, she will actually reach a settlement in the case, and Dolce & Gabbana agreed that they may have been at fault somehow, some way. Now, according to Independent Dope, it would say, quote, FBG Duck's mother has officially settled a lawsuit with Dolce & Gabbana. Lashina Weekly filed a wrongful death suit after her son, rapper FBG Duck, was gunned down outside their Gold Coast store in 2020. She claimed the luxury brand and its security team failed to protect shoppers in a high-risk area, and that her son was left without medical attention for nearly 20 minutes. She recently confirmed the Dolce & Gabbana part of the suit has been resolved. Details of the settlement remain private, but she publicly thanked her attorney and the brand for doing the right thing. Mama Duck would take to her Instagram story, and she would say, quote, "We just recently settled our lawsuit with Dolce & Gabbana. I want to thank my attorney Roosevelt Allen and thank Dolce & Gabbana for recognizing that my son's life had value. The fight continues against the remaining parties. # long live Duck." Now, I'm happy for Mama Duck, and I'm also happy that she was granted this lawsuit because it is a step in the right direction, because there were a lot of weird things that went down that day. And I think a lot of it could have been avoided had it was proper protection set up. Now, we don't know what other stores she probably has a lawsuit against. We don't know how she would be able to, because we know he was going in Dolce & Gabbana. So if they're being held accountable and their security team for not securing their shoppers, that's understandable. But any other stores, I really wouldn't see, unless the other store that THF was in, when he was calling, knowing he wasn't shopping, but he was on the phone and allowed to be in their store, as he pretty much put a plot against FBG Duck up as security. Listen, they didn't intervene, they didn't kick him out, no nothing. Which is kind of crazy, because usually in these luxury stores, you can't be in there without shopping, because that's what security is for. They make sure you're just not in there standing around or making noise. If you are, then they will gladly get you out. But TZ was able to go into that store. He was able to make calls and stalk FBG Duck. So I don't know if that's the reason why Mama Duck may have a lawsuit against any other store. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. They say it's private, so until she wins or loses, I guess we will know when the information comes out. Now, when it comes to the situation again, I always found it kind of crazy that he actually was in the open the way he was, but common sense would say that these guys, even if they did see him, they wasn't going to do nothing in the Gold Coast, right? I'm not going to lie, if it was me, I would think the same thing. I don't know if I would stick out there that long, but like I said, he's probably feeling like it's a Gold Coast. It has too much cameras. Nobody's that stupid to pull that off here. Lo and behold, common sense ain't too common, and I guess we do have people that actually are stupid. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. I'm out.